everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to go ahead and do the follow-up video to the question that I posed earlier, and that is it appropriate to wear fragrances to work? Are there any caveats? Are there any things you should go ahead and know? So the format that I'm going to go ahead and do this in is I'm going to go ahead and read off some of the comments. I obviously can't read off all of the comments. There are plenty of comments, everyone left great comments, so if I don't select your comment, it's not like you had a bad comment or anything like that. I just kind of went through and chose a couple, some at random and some to kind of match with the point that I'm actually trying to make, or to give a different opinion, something other that, that I don't have. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So the first thing I wanted to actually touch upon was don't bathe in it, basically. Applying, or the amount that you apply, is extremely important. And here's a couple comments. First one is Marqueezy956 basically says, of course it's okay, just don't bathe in it. The second comment was from Maurice X is between the C and the E, and he comments, I think wearing fragrances is usually always acceptable. I of course would restrict the fragrances I wear in certain settings. For instance, when I teach kids on Monday evenings, I don't wear Pure Havana or YSL. I wear either Roadster or Bulgari Man. The former pair are a bit sexual, while the latter are pleasant but bland. When I do formal presentations, I wear DHI, Prada, or Clyde Christian decants. Otherwise, you can wear anything as long as you don't over apply a strong fragrance. I think the advice that he gives is very solid. You can wear anything that you want as long as you don't over apply. I think there are scents that are better off for certain occasions, but that's just me. Now, one thing he mentions that I think is very key is that he works with kids, so he tried to pick a fragrance that wasn't necessarily attractive to kids or that would draw him in that manner or in a sexual manner, just because he doesn't want to give off that impression at all. And it goes to the heart of the matter, scenting for the occasion, or picking the right scents for the right occasion. And for this case, that's an example of what he's doing. The next comment I wanted to read comes from Jeffrey18930576. And his comment was the following. Let's go ahead and find it right here. Whoops. I think I passed it. There we go. In one of my first jobs, I worked in an office with a woman who was wearing a fragrance so strong it gave me a headache, and I could smell it on my clothes the next day in the hamper. I never had any contact. I didn't wear any fragrance at the time. I never want to be that type of person. So close to the skin, light on the trigger. My motto for fragrances. That is solid advice to me. And that story is a story that I've heard many times from other people when they smell scents. A lot of times people have a negative connotation of fragrances because they come across someone who just over applies the fragrance and completely just overwhelms people's senses around them. And you never want to be that person, period, at work, just because it'll impact you negatively in a way that you may not even think. They may not even say anything to you, but just really keep your trigger in mind. I think his motto is excellent. So close to the skin, light on the trigger. For work, I think is a very good motto to have. So the next point that I actually wanted to make was your setting. The setting that you're in matters for it, and it matters greatly. Here's a couple of points to illustrate that. The first person that I wanted to comment from was Wild Dove X, who made a comment on this, and that's, so many people dislike any fragrances today, or have asthma, or multiple chemical sensitivities, that it's not appropriate to wear fragrances to work unless maybe you work entirely by yourself and no one else will be exposed to the fragrance. And that's especially so in medical settings where illness, medications, or recent anesthetic may predispose to extreme reactions to fragrance in the moment and for years later, even though the fragrance may be aesthetically pleasing otherwise. That comment really sums it up in terms of how it is, or which places that you shouldn't wear fragrances. If you work in a hospital, then I highly suggest or recommend that you don't wear fragrances in those settings. In some hospitals altogether, I'm told actually by a couple of medical professionals that it's actually, there's actually rules against it, that they're not allowed to wear any fragrances to work just because of that very fact. You have patients who maybe in a compromising manner, or maybe have compromised immune systems, or whatever it may be, may not be able to take that scent and may react negatively to it. Just today, I had an incident where I was guilty of something like that, and that was I was having people smell my fragrances usually, as they go ahead and do and give their comments on the videos. I was in the cafeteria, sprayed something on a little strip, and immediately a woman behind me goes, "Oh my God, is that a scent?" And I thought, "Oh wow, she loves the scent." But she was like, "No, I can't stand it. Get it away from me." And turns out she was pregnant. Now, I've heard from a couple of pregnant women as well that they cannot take the smell of fragrances at all. It makes them nauseous. They feel like throwing up immediately for it. Doesn't matter how good the actual scent smells. Long story short, I picked up, took the person that I was with me, went out of the lunchroom to another corner, and we just did our thing over there. Completely respected her wishes and kept away from her. So in that case, in all scenarios, it's actually not okay to wear fragrances or to spritz on, no matter what the fragrance may be. So yeah. Next comment is from Silent Rich 11. Silent Rich 11 states, "If your work doesn't have any rules against it, then yes. There's people, of course, that will ruin it and put on 15 sprays of something and won't care about anyone else's feelings. It all comes down to common sense. There's people that think any fragrance can be pulled off by anyone in any occasion, in any condition. We call these people bleeping morons." You can kind of guess what he said there, but yes, agree with there too. Use common sense, especially when applying your fragrance, especially for work occasions. There are people that aren't gonna like what you wear, basically. And there is no one magical elixir that everyone absolutely loves, so you won't come across it. Just be mindful, have some common sense when spraying your scent of choice. Next comment was from Subaru Guy 34, and he writes, "I have a purpose with every fragrance I own. Before I even make the purchase, I can justify when and where I will use a frag. Work is a good place for me to wear fragrances that I enjoy. My wife enjoys summer fragrance, summer frags and scents on the lighter side. I'm not saying I wear Amen to work. Bad idea. Did once, bad idea, sorry. But heavier fragrances that she doesn't like, I wear to work. I work in retail with an open floor plan, so it gives me the flexibility to wear louder frags. The workplace does matter though, and I think that's an excellent point as well. He's in an open environment, he's in an open setting, so he's allowed to wear a little bit heavier fragrances that go just because there's more distance between him and other people that are around. He's not stuck in an area that's going to, the person right next to him is going to be stuck smelling his scent or anything like that, or have really close contact with people all day long. So again, the setting does matter. The next point I wanted to make is a quick point, and that is it differs by region. What is accepted differs highly by region. And I thought an excellent comment came from Suned 1969. And his comment was the following. Let's find this comment. Here we go. "Been wearing fragrances since I was 10 years old. Every single day of my life, literally. And I'm 42 now. But I live in Puerto Rico, and it is like standard here to use colognes and deodorant. Youp Homme at work here is perfect. I have noticed, however, in the continental USA, people are kind of touchy regarding scents, since most people are not used to them. My answer is it depends on the culture or preference of the place you work. Cheers." Excellent answer, and he's absolutely right. In some countries, it's completely different as well whether or not it's okay to wear fragrances to work. I do remember actually visiting, not Puerto Rico, but which business trip? It wasn't, Paris, there we go. It was Paris that I actually went ahead and visited for business purposes, and I do remember smelling various scents around people, and it was perfectly okay, perfectly bland. Or not perfectly bland, sorry. But it was perfectly okay, perfectly kosher to go ahead and wear scents to work. And that might have been just the office that I was in. Okay, whichever. But conversely, the same office that we went to, again, same company in Japan, basically, that we went to, I couldn't smell anything on them. They weren't wearing scents like it was actually normal. So in that case, I would deduce that it's actually not the norm to be going to wear scents to work in the office setting. So just keep that in mind. Now, the final point that I wanted to get across was brought out by 48 Fiend, and that is, I feel it's absolutely okay to wear fragrances to work. I'd say the only restrictions are don't wear anything that is overpowering and don't wear anything that may be unpleasant smelling to those around you. I know that just about anything can be unpleasant to someone, but some scents are a no-brainer. For example, you probably shouldn't wear M7 to work, right? Now, again, great example. You want to choose a fragrance that's non-offensive. Generally, those are 4 rules that I stick by. Choose the setting. Make sure that you're dressing, depending on where you work will influence if you should wear a fragrance at all, or what type of a fragrance that you might want to wear. If you're in an office setting, you might want to wear something that's not offensive or that is universally pleasing. Bland, if you will, fine, sure. But in my case, I generally wear what I want with moderation. The only key example is if I'm meeting clients or some people where they really rely on that impression that they get of you, then I'm going to wear something that is completely non-offensive, or I may choose, like for a job interview, to wear nothing at all. So the setting is very, very important, and that dictates what you should wear when you should wear, basically. The second thing was don't bathe in it. Don't bathe in the fragrance. No matter what you choose, it's never good to over apply. I've heard on some groups, some people saying they spray absolutely as much as they want. They go hog wild. That is bad advice to listen to, and I will say it right off the bat. Obviously, there are some scents where you can just go hog wild, and it's not going to do anything because the scent may be extremely weak. You may be able to pour a whole bottle on you, and people still may not be able to smell you. But overall, in general, you don't want to over apply. You don't want to over apply and offend people, because even if it's a scent that they do like, if you over apply it, chances are they're not going to like it. So use fragrance in moderation. Watch your trigger. The third thing, cultural differences. Obviously, you're going to have cultural differences between different cultures. If you're in Japan, if you're in the United States, you may have 2 different cultural values. So just keep your cultural values in mind when you're choosing a fragrance, or if you're even choosing a fragrance to wear. And the final thing is, and just the advice that I kind of give across is choose something, that's not offensive, that's pleasant to everyone. Not everyone is going to like your scent. So you want to choose something that's going to be at least kind of crowd pleasing, if you will, maybe even boring at that, but just some things you want to actually keep in mind. So as you can see, there are a lot of variables that go through here. If you ask around, see through from the last video at least, that I'll obviously have a link. You'll see the link down here. It just highly depends on your scenario, what you're doing, and using common sense. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, let me know, leave a comment down below. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.